Hello everyone, my name's Stuart Sleeth. I am the coordinator of upper school mathematics at JCG. I'm looking forward to talking to you a little bit about what we do not only in Year 9, so your child has already been exposed to some of what we do, but also moving into Year 10 and into Year 11 when exams happen in the summer. I just want to start with some of the awards that are available to students. So we have an award for each of the values at JCG, and we wanted to make it so that any student had the opportunity to work towards trying to get one of these awards. So we've got the Aspire Award, which is for the student who really sets themselves a demanding target and works to make the greatest progress in mathematics. So really trying hard to understand topics, maybe going out of their way to get a little bit of support and just trying to go that little bit further to improve their knowledge. And the Inquire Award for students that want to broaden their knowledge so that they go to extracurricular activities, perhaps the Intermediate Maths Challenge Club, for example, to try and study some mathematics away from the standard curriculum. The Excel Award is for the student with the highest overall progress in mathematics in an academic year. And so there'll be one of these awards for each of years 9, 10 and 11. And the Belong Award, our most important value, for the student who displays exceptional enthusiasm. So always trying to be involved in lessons, always attentive, always engaged, and who also goes out of their way to support others. The most supportive classrooms have the students with the highest level of confidence who go out of their way to give answers and are not afraid to make mistakes, which is absolutely fantastic in maths. That's what we want. Students who are okay to make mistakes and then listen carefully to how they can improve. So what we've got in terms of support, obviously teachers will be supportive in every lesson, but outside of those lessons, if students want additional support, say they felt they didn't quite understand a concept in a lesson, or they found a homework difficult, or they might want to ask how they can go that little bit further in maths, then we've got sessions every day before school from 7:45 till 8:15. So students can go and speak to the teacher who's running that session and they can help them out. And they don't have to be there for half an hour. It can just be to pop in for 5 minutes, talk about a specific question, and then leave again if that's what they prefer. There's also after school session available at 3:30 on a Wednesday. We've also got extracurricular activities available, one of which is the Intermediate Maths Challenge Club, where students can come and study some quite abstract questions, some quite challenging questions, just to have a go at broadening their knowledge in an environment which is supportive. To go into the detail then about how things run in years 9 and 10. In year 10 there are 4 lessons a week, and in year 11 3 lessons a week. So obviously year 11, very important year, it's the exam year. 3 lessons a week to work on some quite challenging things and consolidate some of the things that happened in year 10. But year 10, I would say, is equally important. It's the time when there's most time available to have lots of practice and to get lots of support. And so making best use of those 4 lessons is obviously important in year 10 as well. To support students in their journey, what we've got is we've got a learning log for each of the terms and for each part of the scheme that students study. So this particular one is for the E scheme. So we've got different schemes for different entry levels depending on where students are in their learning journeys as they enter year 10. And this particular one's for E scheme, which is what Middlesex students will study in year 10. And so what we've done is for each of the sections, so each term students will study topics in number, algebra, geometry and data, and we've turned the specification into something that's a little bit more student friendly. So they can read this and decide what their confidence level is and put a tick in one of these boxes here. And obviously, if they're delighted and they're feeling really confident, then that's great. But if we're moving towards the right here, then they can come and seek support either in the lesson or in before school sessions or our after school support session. So they can keep an eye on how they feel they're doing and really be part of the journey themselves. So one for each of number, data, geometry and algebra. And they can use this to help them prepare for the assessments that take place. So they can put the dates of the assessments here. You kind of lead their revision or prioritize their revision according to their confidence level in each of the topics up here, which will help them out in terms of preparation. And then afterwards, they can obviously put their score and percentage there, and they can think about what their target is, and do a little bit of analysis afterwards. So what were they feeling confident about? What were they happy with? But also, what are the things that they feel they need to focus on before it comes to the end of year exam? So they'll sit these termly assessments in autumn and spring, and then they can look back at these learning logs and think about what it is that they need to focus on before they go into the end of year exam. Homework, so in year 10 and 11 it's 45 minutes a week of homework. We're obviously trying to develop independent learners, especially for when it comes up to the end of year exams in, well, the actual GCSEs in the summer of year 11. So practice at working independently is essential when it comes to preparing for those. And we've got an excellent resource that we're invested in, drfrostmaths.com. So lots of homework that your child will get will be set on Dr. Frost Maths. And this is great because not only do they get to practice key skills, but also really some really challenging questions independently. And they get instant feedback, which is one of the best things about it. So obviously, if they get lots right, that's fantastic, real confidence builder. But if they get something wrong, then there's support available, obviously from us at JCG, but also online. So a video will pop up that they can click on that can remind them of the skills that they need to answer those questions. So like it says here, it's packed full of videos and tasks, and instant feedback is available. We found that students have started to invest in this quite a lot themselves. So they've started to study away from some of the homework tasks, watch videos and try some of the other tasks, especially during their times when they're revising. What we've also got are exam style questions on paper that we give 3 times per term, just to give students exposure to the type of questions that they will be sitting in the GCSE. So by the time they come to the GCSE, they may well have sat 27 of these papers. So it's good practice for exam technique, and it's good practice at trying some challenging questions independently. And we're trying to keep these as low stakes as possible. So it's just an opportunity for students to practice these in silence, in a lesson, or during homework, so that they have the opportunity to have a go at these things. There's no extra pressure in terms of trying to get the highest score ever. It's just about having a good go at those questions, having to give maximum exposure before the exam. We provide revision sheets to help review the current learning and prepare for the termly assessment. So as well as the learning log, there's also revision sheets that have got lots of questions that are specific to the topics that they will sit in the termly topic assessments. And as you should have seen already, all of the lessons go onto OneNote. So if students miss a lesson because they're ill, or if they didn't quite understand something, or if they need to go back and revisit some work that they just want to revise, then it's all there ready to go. We found that very useful, and students are engaging really well with that, so that's great. Talking about the assessment then for GCSE mathematics. So only by final examination, so there's no coursework or controlled assessment, and it's at the end of year 11. There are 3 papers. Paper 1 is non-calculator, but calculators are allowed for papers 2 and 3. So as I said, 3 papers, total time of 4.5 hours, and it is an hour and a half for each paper. If your child is studying for the higher tier qualification, they'll sit the Edexcel papers from the Edexcel specification. And if they're studying for the foundation tier, then they'll sit the AQA exam board. Also, the students in the top 2 sets also study for the AQA Level 2 certificate in further mathematics. And they'll sit that at the end of year 11 alongside GCSE maths. So students in those sets will have covered most of what's involved in the GCSE maths exam by the end of year 10, and then they'll just go that little bit deeper with the certificate in further maths. A little bit more detail on that then. So if your child is going to study this, then in the summer of year 10, they'll begin studying for this and continue in the autumn and spring of year 11. Some students can feel a little bit nervous about doing this because it is going that step further, but to reassure anyone that is kind of having any worries about that, it is just lots of problems that get you to challenge or revise some of the things that you'll need for GCSE, but also it will take you that little bit deeper into some of those concepts and help you prepare for entry to A-level, particularly if you're interested in that. If you decided that A-level maths isn't for you, it's still very useful because it will make the GCSE qualification a little bit easier for you because of the practice that you've had at the level of questions and problems that are involved in this course. Okay, so it's 100% exam assessment, just like the GCSE, but it's 2 papers, 1 calculator and 1 non-calculator. I just thought I'd give you a bit of a flavour of how it is similar, but also how it does stretch students that little bit further. So on the left here, you've got the sorts of questions that you would expect to see on a higher tier GCSE paper. So we've got here fractional indices, simultaneous equations, and rearranging formulae. And it's very similar on the right-hand side, but just going into more depth. Okay, so there's clearly quite a lot of algebra involved, which is only going to strengthen the algebraic understanding of students for the GCSE, as well as take them that little bit further and provide a nice bridge into A-level, as well as achieve a standalone qualification. So a little bit more on this. So on the left-hand side, here's a typical question from higher GCSE. Here's something that's very similar. So students in the top sets will study this topic in year 10, and then they'll take it a little bit deeper in year 11, and as we can see, it's more algebraic, but the techniques are exactly the same. It's just breaking through that barrier, trying to get a deeper understanding of some of the concepts. Here on the bottom left is a question about sketching a graph. Here's a question which is very similar, but again, just going into that little bit more depth. And as I said, this sort of analysis is ideal preparation for A-level, but also developing problem-solving skills and logical approach to answering any kind of problems or exam questions. There's also some extra new topics. I've put 4 of them up here just to sort of give a bit of a flavour, a picture of what it looks like. So matrices on the top left, calculus, so some differentiation, binomial expansion on the bottom left, and trigonometric equations as well. If you want to have a look a little bit deeper into the specification, I've just put a link down here To finish off then, some resources that I think are very useful, and we recommend that you do think about buying, are these GCSE cards here. So those cards have got example worked examples on them and QR codes that take you to a website where you can watch videos and do extra practice questions and look at your answers. We've got the CGP revision bundle, the next one down, where you can get exam practice, workbooks, and also revision guides. The same for foundation here, so you can just click on these links and go and have a look at those bundles if you're interested in that. Something that will be very, very useful for students that are studying for further mathematics is this textbook, which is brilliant. It's really lined up nicely with the specification, has lots of useful practice questions in there, and students can obviously look ahead and look back and revise from that. So really do recommend that you buy that textbook if your child is going to be studying further mathematics. All of these can be ordered through JCG so that you can get a reduced price for those. So I've talked about some of these things, but just to provide you with these links, and you'll get sent this presentation so that you can have a look through if you're interested in a little bit more depth of the specification for foundation, for higher, for further mathematics. I definitely recommend that as a parent you sign up to Dr. Frost so you can have a little look at what your child's been up to and also explore for yourself. So that you can see what support is available online for students. Corbett Maths is a great website with videos, questions and answers there. You can just search for the topic that you're interested in, and there are lots and lots of resources, and that's very similar for Maths Junior. Thanks very much for listening. I really hope that your daughter enjoys maths in year 10 and 11. We're certainly aiming to make it that way. But if you do have any questions, please do get in touch. Thank you.